Welcome back. More than a quarter of Americans, 28%, say a family member, friend, co-worker, or they themselves have been a victim of gun violence. It outnumbers self-identified political independents in our poll by 2 to 1, as more Americans become part of a shared experience that they never wanted. I'm not interested in having a debate about gun laws. It's more of like, we have a societal and cultural problem. And it seems like it's now bigger than just a simple fight over laws, Rachel. I mean, this feeling that you can't go to some neighbor's house and you end up in the wrong door and you might get shot.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, talk about parents being afraid to send their kids to school. I mean, it is a fear that everyone has right now. And I'm going to take it back to laws because, you know, here in Washington, this was story number like 25. I mean, we're talking about everything else and not about this issue. President Biden was asked about it and he said, look, I can't do anything. Democrats, you know, Sununu pointed out, they didn't pass laws on this when they had majorities in Congress, and now Republicans control the House. Nobody's talking about it up there, and yet everybody's talking about it everywhere else.
It seems that there needs to be some leadership to sort of change the culture that says, Mark, you don't need to pull a gun first. Like, that's where we are. Like, why people are in I got to have my gun first. That seems to be the uneasiness.
Well, I think that there's a devaluation of life, honestly, in our society, Chuck. And I do think there needs to be a greater appreciation for the value of life. But I also think that there's a lot of media focus, and rightly there should be, on these mass shootings. But respecting everyone who lost a life and we mourn them, the reality is there's been 12,800 deaths by guns this year, 169 by mass shootings. There's a crime problem in our inner cities that we are not addressing. We focus a lot on the mass shootings without focusing on the real problem of crime in our inner cities. And there needs to be a bigger focus there.
Well, it's not just crime in inner cities. It's crime in suburbs. It's crime in, rural areas. I mean, the guns are being used everywhere. It's a gun problem everywhere. And so, again, getting back to laws. I mean, Florida, after Parkland, passed a red flag law. And that has been used thousands of times, like probably 10,000 times by now, to take guns out of the hands of people who are deemed, through a process, to be a danger to themselves or others. And who knows how many shootings that has stopped, but I'll bet it's some. The number is not zero. So how else do we attack this cultural issue other than through law?
Amy, I don't even know if we have a shared North Star on this, which is the goal, you would think, a minimum goal that everybody could agree on is we should keep guns out of those who mentally aren't capable of having it or who could be trigger happy for whatever reason. But we don't agree on how to
judge that.
How do you do that either? How to judge it? I don't know if these red flag laws are constitutional. We have yet to see it tested for what it's worth. So that's an issue. But it's also, we don't seem to agree that, okay, we got to get rid of mentally challenged people from getting guns, but we don't know how to do it.
Well, and I do think also, what does mentally challenged mean when so many of these shootings are literally, as you pointed out, spur of the moment, heat of the moment? If you have a gun nearby, suicides are also one on that list that you put forward of the number of suicides that are aided by guns. How many of those would have been prevented if it wasn't as easy to pick up?
Here's what I'm uncomfortable with, is that I would have had to say yes on that. I've had a family member and a work colleague touched by gun violence. I'm guessing that everybody here knows somebody or has somebody. I mean, that's the part of this that I feel like our politicians aren't addressing this shared reality. Rachel.
On mental health?
On all of it.
Yeah.
On all of it.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about trying to get some sort of united North Star that people can go to. I mean, you would think that, Republicans always want to talk about mental health. Democrats always want to talk about gun control. I mean, there has to be some sort of overlapping area here. I mean, like, red flag laws have been successful in parts of the country. Could they do something more at a national level here in terms of making sure that guns are not falling in the hands of the wrong people?
What's the one thing that every gun crime, every gun incident has in common? It's the gun. We have more guns than people in this country. That's the bottom line, and now how we address that is a difficult problem.
Well, we also live in
the truth.
Yeah, and we live in a society where it's heads I win, tails you lose. There's no such thing as compromise on any issues, because somehow, if there's compromise, I'm going to lose out.
But I want to do a political reality here, Mark. We've yet to see somebody who is seen as a Second Amendment supporter lose an election because of that issue.
Well, sure, because I think that as many as we talk about families that have been touched by gun violence, we also have family members or people we know who have also been protected because they had a gun too, Chuck. And so it's a complicated issue. I think you're right. It is a bigger societal issue than saying, let's grab everybody's gun.
Right.
Politically, I mean, you talk about, there hasn't been a Republican voter who has been sort of ousted because of this. And until you start to see, or not a Republican candidate, a Republican lawmaker, until you see something like that, you're not going to see
Abortion
changes
is
on this.
definitely salient
Right.
with swing voters. It's not clear yet that gun policy is.
We'll see.
Yeah. That's all we have for today.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.